I want to actually go into because I know
Yeah, let me try and think.
behind all your because you got the Music Man back there. A lot of people want to know about gear that you're using.
Okay.
So I mean, with I saw you with a Stratosphere play stand up. I saw you
Yeah.
play
Mostly the Music Man and the stand up.
Okay.
So back at the Estrada, like I'm such a 50s and 60s guys now that I finally changed out though even those strings on the five for flat wound.
Yeah.
And so I have no way to even get like a metal tone anymore as a bass, because even when we do metal in High Castle, the basses stay where they were. So if it was like a jazz vibe, the basses do not change. It becomes drums and guitars over that other thing. So mostly what I do now, like I was saying earlier, is 4 basses on everything. I do my stand up. I think that's over there in the car, right? Somewhere down there.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
We got it.
But I do stand up. I do the Paul McCartney knockoff bass over there. Sometimes I'll do the Stingray, but I also have the reissue Seafoam Green 50s P bass. And then sometimes a baritone guitar or a regular guitar just palm muted. And then if you listen on some of the, especially I did some of that stuff in a Stratosphere, like on the song Buck Fever, I think the song Meteorite Showers. There was definitely some doubled and tripled basses going on, but now it's like my tone. Like I just do it on everything. And if you listen on the High Castle stuff, yeah, you'll hear the basses are just really like, if you listen to it, it doesn't stick out to the ears. Like there's 4 basses. That's cool. Like you just, if you zero in on it, you might just be like, damn, that's a freaking cool bass tone. What the hell is that? And then, it's kind of under the hood. It's like, well, that's 4 basses. So that's why it sounds so good.
Which, by the way, this is coming out it's Friday for everybody who's listening to this. You're having an album teaser today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Album teaser at 6 p.m. Mountain time, because that's what I'm in. I'm making everyone figure out. People in Australia are like, what does that mean for me? Like
that's like 4 days away.
Yeah. 6 p.m. Mountain time on my YouTube channel, which if you just look up Tim Smolens.
Google that shit.
Yeah.
Google your time zone and mountain time versus
Tim Smolens.
Look, we came up with this really cool teaser. I don't know if any of you heard it. Did any of you get the bonus download thing on?
Yeah,
YouTube?
I did. I haven't had time to actually get
So,
the email, but I did.
We didn't want to give away too much, so we isolated little elements that are just going to be like, where the hell's that going to go? Like, it's really more of this, like, it'll leave you with more questions than answers.
That's
but
perfect.
At the same time, and we had made a cool little video for it. So some people might be like, hey, I already heard that in my bonus, download or whatever, but it's really just kind of putting it out there and building some curiosity. We're in the home stretch of making this High Castle record, which, for people, we haven't really talked about this yet, or who don't know, it's 3 members of a Stratosphere are part of the core of it. Myself, original drummer Dave Murray, and violinist Timba Harris. We've got Stian, the accordionist for Farmers Market in Norway, one of the greatest musicians on the face of the earth, like without any question
I
at all.
had no idea you had him.
A Bear McKinnon from Bungle is in Australia, plays sax and clarinet and flute and does a little bit of singing and keyboard stuff and writes really cool stuff. And then this guitarist who's really my main sort of guy partner is Chris Bogan, he wasn't part of any group. We call him the undistinguished in the band. He doesn't. He's this really great. He's been like a secret chief. He's been in that whole scene of just like fandom for a long time. But he emailed me after I made the ISS record. I was like, hey, if you ever need a guitarist, and eventually I was like, hey, let me just email that guy and see what happens. And we developed this working relationship where we are like day to day, like I'm at work and we're like, hey, what should we do with that part? Like we're just constantly, he has a family in New Orleans and we've met one time in person in 2 years that we've been working together. So we formed this group, High Castle Teleorkestra, right at the, as the pandemic was getting underway. It's kind of like an idea, like we're already kind of isolated. Like it's not like the pandemic forced me into my basement. I was already in my basement. So it's like, but I was like, this is a good opportunity to come up with this new idea for a band, like a remote band where I kind of produce it and write a lot of the stuff and then send the stuff to people around the world and they send it back and I'll produce it. And Chris is sort of helping me produce it with our sort of day-to-day back and forth stuff. And he's an awesome guitarist. And I think what happened is kind of like building on what we were talking about with She's a Girl. Is like I came back 10 years later and my production skills, I hate complimenting myself, but like they had gotten better. I don't know what it was. Like, I don't know if it was that I had all these plugins to like emulate old stuff or something just clicked that I could produce better. My ideas were more clear, kind of some of that stuff that I'd learned from Chip, and I've learned from like how to like make us like go into a song knowing what you want instead of just like, hey, we'll lay some stuff down and something will work. The better idea you have, at least for the form of the song, as long as your foundation is there, like I know my tempos and I know how long it is and how many sections repeat. And once you have that and lock it in your computer with the tempos and your click tracks, or if you use click tracks or whatever, and then your form is done and you can just build on that, and then you can start having some leeway.